Swelling in a joint can mean a few different things. It can be something as simple as an injury or something that requires just rest, maybe some home exercises. If it's something that lasts a little bit long, it could require further workup, meaning there's a tear or injury that requires further attention. It's important to consider an x-ray in certain injuries, such as rolling your ankle, turning your ankle, and if it's to the point where you can't even put weight down on it, you're unable to get around, it's important to consider getting an x-ray. To learn more, please click on one of the links on the screen or in the description below.